Are you ready to start living a more confident, successful, and safe life, regardless of what's going on in the world or what has happened in your past? Then you're at the right place at the right time. The FemVincible Podcast, where we bring you content and guests to help you focus on moving forward as the powerful you that you were truly meant to be. So welcome to FemVincible. Good morning. It's December 24th, 2022. We're almost done with yet another year. And thanks for being here. And if you're watching the recording, thanks for watching the recording. And no, I didn't put a live link today because I'm going to try to keep it kind of short. I realize it's a very busy weekend. You know, regardless of what the holiday is that you're celebrating, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or Yule or Kwanzaa or the winter solstice, you know, those are all things that we celebrate at this time of the year in our different backgrounds and our different cultures and our different families. But they all have some things in common, and it's about connecting and giving and remembering. And it can be a tough time of year. You know, a lot of people feel their loneliness the most this time of year, or remember things that haven't worked or that they've done wrong or that haven't gone well. And it can be difficult. I mean, yeah, it's a joyful time for any of those holidays, or even if you don't celebrate a holiday, but just enjoy the lights and the weather and the camaraderie and the friendship. It's a happy time for a lot of people, but it's also a challenging time for a lot of people. And I think one of the things that we can be challenged with, depending on where we are in our life, is gift giving. The holidays have really been commercialized, right? I mean, we see more about stores and sales and be sure to give the right thing. And that's not really what the holidays are about. The holidays aren't about discounts and, you know, holiday sales and such. And there's a gift that I want to talk about that you can give that is extremely powerful. It's practically magical, and it will cost nothing to give. It's a powerful, life-changing gift. You know, we worry about, did we buy something? Did it cost enough? Does it cost as much as what somebody else gave me? I don't want them to think I'm cheap. I don't want them to think I spend too much. Oh no, did I forget to give them something and they got me something? It's crazy, right? But there's another gift that you can give, and not only can it change someone's life, it can change yours too. And the gift I'm talking about it's something I try to do pretty regularly. And every time I do it, almost every time I do it, it feels great for two reasons. One, it makes me feel better. Two, it makes the person I give it to feel better. So what is this gift? It's the gift of trying to see people as they want to be. Now, what does that mean? You know, it's so easy for us to look at other people and judge them by what they wear, whether it's something they got at a thrift store or something they got at the most expensive store in the mall, by what they drive, by the shape of their body, by the color of their skin, by the sound of their accent, by the language they speak. We end up doing that. Sometimes we do it consciously, and sometimes we do it unconsciously. And it's a challenge for every human, right? It's a challenge for every human, because anything bad that has happened to you or your family or your country or your community, and if you know who did that, guess what? They have a color, they have a sound, they have a language, they have a religion. And it's hard for us to not see everybody that's similar to them as part of the problem. I mean, that's built into us. It's not an evil thing that we do. It can come across that way, I'm sure, but it's part of our what's called a negativity bias. And I think I've talked about this before, but it's the part of our brain that helps us survive. You know, if I've been playing with snakes all my life, I haven't, but if I have, then I suddenly play with a snake that bites me and it's poisonous and I almost die. Well, guess what? Snakes can have a new meaning to me because the fear and the pain part that happened will be a much stronger memory than the positive things that have happened or the times that I've enjoyed playing with snakes or showing them to my friends or whatever. And we do that. We do that with our friends when they do us wrong. We do that with the people in that other country that don't like us. We do that with the people who have that other language that won't speak our language. It's really not something that helps our world grow. It made a lot of sense 10,000 years ago. It doesn't really make much sense now. You know, to look at somebody and go, yeah, the guy that owns the company I work for that fired me, he's a white guy with this kind of accent and he's older and he has gray in his beard. So it's easy to suddenly see all white guys with gray beards who are business owners as horrible people. You know, it might be that there's a million ways that you could look at this. Think of any stereotype you want. And whether it's something you agree with or someone you hate or someone that you wish that stereotype wasn't there, it's still there in your head. And it would be wonderful if we could get rid of that. So what I'm proposing to you is give the gift of seeing any person you talk to outside of the stereotype that the news has given you, your experience has given you. The news has given, did I just say news? Yeah. The news, the government, your friends, your whoever, and see them as a real person for the person that they want to be most. And it's not really that, it's not difficult. It may be challenging when you first start to do it. I'll give you a couple of examples. When you think of, I had a interaction, an exchange, whatever we're going to call it, this past week or the week. Yeah, it was this past week. And it was about an organization that I'm part of. It's just a networking organization. And there's a member there who happens to have a felony record. And this person was just very happy to have been accepted in, that they told the group owner about, you know, their felony status, their felon status, and how appreciative they were that they were allowed to be part of the group. Now, every one of us has a feeling about the word felon, don't we? And it's partially, again, because of that negativity bias that our brain has that's a way to keep us safe. I mean, when we think of felons, what do we think of? We think of murderers. We think of traffickers. We think of drug dealers selling drugs to our kids and our family and destroying their lives. We think of the worst possible things. But there are so many laws in America, and I'm sure in other countries, that can, if you are charged and convicted, can make you a felon. And there could end up being really minor stuff. Like, for example, in a lot of states, maybe it's in all states now, a DUI, just a DUI by itself, meaning driving under the influence. So let's say no accident involved, no damage involved, no one was hurt, but you get pulled over because some guy gets pulled over because he has a taillight out Turns out he smells a little bit of alcohol. Police checks him, and his blood alcohol level is above the legal limit. Okay. I mean, yeah, we don't want people driving drunk because it can lead to bad things, but that is not a felony. But in most states in the US now, if not all, if that happens 3 times to you, the third strike rule, I think that's what they call it, which is a baseball reference. The third one becomes a felony. So it may be that that person charged and convicted with a felony charge of DUI, having never hurt anyone, having never damaged anything, having never endangered anyone, is now a felon. So nothing ever happened, right? But still, they were charged with a felony. Would you think of that person the same as you would think of a mass murderer? Well, of course not, right? Of course not. You know, the person that their vehicle skids out of control during a storm and ends up killing somebody could end up with a felony charge from an accident. Do we think of them the same way as we think of a rapist or a child molester? No, of course not. But still, that label felon is stuck to them, and it sticks for the rest of your life. That's horrible, isn't it? So that's one of the things that I want you to think about as a gift to give. When you hear something about a person, try to see beyond it. What was the cause? What was the happening? I mean, even if you can't forgive what they did, because maybe they did do something violent, maybe they did steal something they shouldn't have. Well, there's nothing you should ever steal, right? But you know, to see who it is, what was the experience, what's the story, who are they? Even people who do some pretty horrible things, if we go past the horrible thing and see why they did it, and then go beyond why they did it to what caused that in their life. I mean, plenty of people have stolen things that ended up making them a felon because they were trying to take care of their family. No job, no medicine, can't get work, so they steal it, right? Trying to save their family. Would we look at that person the same? No, of course not. I mean, who of us wouldn't do something drastic to save our child or our spouse? And, you know, even as I think of these criminal charges, I remember a story a while back of this young guy who was, I think he was 18, and he was dating a girl who was 16, and they were already having sex together. The girl's dad got angry, had him charged with statutory rape, which in the state they were in, that was still appropriate. Statutory rape just means you've had sex with someone who is under the legal age of consent. And so I think she was just a year below. And that can sound bad, but let me tell you the rest of the story. As Paul Harvey used to say, if you're young, you won't know who Paul Harvey is. But anyway, he was a very entertaining radio show host who used to say, and now the rest of the story. Well, here's the rest of the story. Those two kids had been dating for a long time. They intended to get married. But the girl's dad didn't like that. So again, had the boy arrested. He was convicted. Now he forevermore is not just a felon, but a registered sex offender. When he got out of jail, him and that girl got married. So, you know, and they were living happily ever after, except now for the rest of this young guy's life, he is referred to as a felon and a sex offender. And so, of course, when you think sex offender, you think rapist, you think child molester, you think all the worst things, right? Not in this guy's case. So, yeah, sex offender sounds terrible, but what's behind it? And that will be a difficult one for probably all of us. It's difficult for me. The first thing that comes into my head. I mean, if you guys have been on here and heard me very much, you know the stuff that's happened to me in my childhood, and not good stuff. So that's another one of those negativity biases that has really been strengthened in me because those things happened to me. But to be able to look at somebody and go, what's the story? Who are they? Who were they then and who are they now? Right. And of course, that can be with anything. So trying to see people as they are. And, I'll use another example is back in, I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to skip that one because it will be a long story of how it all happened and what came about and everything. But it's about me and my life and what most Americans experienced. Short version, what happened on September the 11th, so long ago. And all of a sudden, all of America saw every person who followed the Islamic faith as a terrible, possible terrorist and murderer, right? But that's not the case. Some, sure. Some Christians, sure. Some, it doesn't matter. There are terrible people in every organization, in every culture, in every religion, but it's not everybody. The majority are good, decent people trying to live their life, trying to take care of their kids, trying to have a safe community. And so there again, we have to look at our negativity bias. And yes, you have a negativity bias. It's in every one of us. It's a survival mechanism. So what we have to do is check that and look at each person as they are. And I'll tell you a really interesting couple of shows that I watched that helped me with this. If you've ever seen the show Reservation Dogs, I don't know what channel it's on, Netflix or something. It's a great story about this group of young people growing up on an Indian reservation, Native American reservation, and the challenges they have with each other, with life, with how people treat them. And it is an incredibly good story. I love that show. And one of the things I love about it is even though it is set to go, these are, Native American kids, Native American families, Native American issues. But if you look just a little bit deeper, it's the same hopes, fears, and challenges that every person has. Another show that I really enjoy is called Miss Marvel. I think it's on Disney. And it's such a good story. It's about a young Pakistani girl living in New Jersey. Her family is Muslim. And, seeing her and her family and in her school and in her religion, to just see regular people, it's like, oh my gosh, they're, once again, it's all of us, the same fears, the same hopes, the same challenges. And I just love to see, those positive views of people that are different from me, and maybe they're different than you. But really, we have all the same hopes. We have all the same fears. We have all the same challenges with who we want to be, with who we are, with what we can provide, with how good we feel about ourselves, with how we think others see us. Those are fears we all have. So my request for you, my offer for you, is to try to look at people all this next year and hopefully for the rest of your lives, to see them beyond the shell of what has happened in their life, beyond the shell of where they were born or the color of their skin or the dollars in their bank account, or the illness they have. Try to see beyond that, because inside of every one of us, there's a person that wants to feel cared for, They want to feel appreciated. They want to feel equal. They want to feel recognized. And, that's what I've come to learn that it means to be seen. Uh, I, I hear that a lot. And generally, I hear it from women. But it's the same for men. And for a long time, I was challenged with that. What does that mean? You want to be seen? I can see you. But it's not, I can see you, your face, your skin, your hair, the degree on your wall, the lack of a degree on your wall. It's not that. It's who do you see? Can you see me as a person? Can you see me as the person that cares about others, the person who has taken most of the jobs in my life because my goal was to protect other people? Can you see that when you see me? Can you see that loving father who's in prison because he was trying to do something for his family and nobody would hire him? Everybody's negativity bias was too thick. Nobody in his town appreciated the color of his skin or saw that as just a reason not to hire him. See that person and try to see them. And, it goes for our age too. It's easy to, for us who are older to look at the younger kids of today and go, what the heck are they doing? And yeah, if they grew up acting the way they are now, when we were children, it would make no sense. But guess what? They're not growing up in the world that we grew up in. They didn't grow up in the 60s and the 70s. We didn't have to deal with, us, our age, my age. We didn't have to deal with online stalking or online bullying, cyberbullying. There's so much that we didn't have to deal with that the young people of today do. And not even the young people. I mean, millennials are now parents, right? So even looking at the different ages and how things were, how things are, young people, look at those of us who are older and recognize that, even in the stuff that we have to say that you might think sounds like we're being harsh or pushy, generally is about hoping that you're okay. So, to see that when you hear what people have to say about you or your situation. And that's what I have to do. I mean, I recognize that because of my skin color, because of my gender, because of my age, a lot of people are going to look at me and automatically think some negative stuff. So I can close up to that, or I can still talk to them like they're a human being and try to see them in their purest form, because that part that they're afraid of me or dislike someone who looked like me, so now they dislike me, that's not their purest form. Their purest form wants connection. Their purest form wants to laugh together. Their purest form would probably love to hear and share the wisdom I've gained over 56 years of life that I can share with someone who's 9 or 15 or 25 or 40. And the same for me, to be able, or the same for me, same for those people, my age and older and a little younger, to look at those young people and go, wow, they really live a different life. I bet they have some incredible insights of how things can be and should be. And to see them that way so that we can hear the wisdom of those younger people, so that we can hear the ideas and how much they care about things. So yeah, that's what I'm asking you to do. Look past them, look past their clothes, look past their gender or their adjusted gender or their lack of gender, because really it's just another thing that can keep us from making this real connection with another incredible human being. If somebody uses a pronoun that you don't like, you're like, well, you look like a guy. Why would I call you a she? Is it really that big of a issue in the big world? I mean, in the whole wide world, do you really care if someone wants to be called he or she or they or them? It doesn't matter, right? I mean, my name's Cranford. Sometimes I get called Cran. I had a friend, his name was Todd, but he wanted to be called T-Dog. So what? His name's not T-Dog. My name's not Cran. So do any of you care that I would be called Cran or Cranford? See, it's one of those things that's so small. Why do we let it in our head? It's just one more thing to separate people, when what all of us are really wanting is connection. Even if you're the worst introvert on the planet, you want people to see you for your true value, even though you don't want to go to a party with them, right? We still all want to be seen. We still all want to connect. So please try to do that. Give that gift. I know I've seen people that here's another quick example. I teach violence prevention for women. I teach how to escape dangerous situations, whether it's a burning house or whether it's a sexual predator attacking you. Well, guess what? The majority of victims of that kind of crime are women, and the majority of assailants of that kind of crime are men. So I understand that when women come into my class or my course or a talk that I'm doing, that they're, first of all, looking at me as a guy, maybe kind of giving me the stink eye, what's this guy doing? Men are the problem, right? Men are the problem. But when they open up and look beyond my gender, my color, my size, my age, whatever, they can hear what my purpose is. And my purpose is about stopping violence. My purpose is about rebuilding the honor and respect and power of women, because it also makes men's lives better when women own all the power they have. So it's okay. I get it. I just have to work through what I know someone's already thinking about me. And you can do that as well. And you can do that when you're looking at somebody else. Maybe they have a lot of tattoos and you've never liked tattoos, but that's okay, right? Maybe you're interested in, why do you have a tattoo of a rainbow on your arm or a snake or the planet Saturn? And maybe it's okay to ask and to go, well, I'm curious, what do you like so much about Saturn that you decided to get it drawn permanently on your arm? And to say it without judgment. I mean, just out of curiosity. I mean, it's amazing the things you learn about people when you approach them with curiosity and openness rather than judgment. So yes, please do try to see people differently. It's easy to do. It's easy to look at that person that's so much different than you when you're getting your groceries and they're standing behind the cash register. Talk to them like a person. It's okay to laugh together. I mean, laughter is just incredible. It's healing. It's okay to say, oh my gosh, I've never seen anybody use sparkles in their makeup before, which I mean, it's common now, but it's okay. It's all right. Nobody had blue hair when I was a kid, but it's cool now. I think it's neat that there are bright colors you can get, and it's okay for me to say that, and I'll share it with people. I mean, clearly, if somebody wanted to have orange hair, they thought it was wonderful. And if I think it's neat, I can say something about it. And boom, we've created a minor connection there that can be powerful. And it might be the thing that helps that person's negativity bias towards people that look like me or my age or whatever, so that they change their life a little bit and open up a little bit more. So yeah, look at that small gift, a kind word to someone. It's an easy gift. It's free. A kind word, a listening ear, letting go of some old biases and beliefs. Oh my gosh, it's 9:33. I meant to do this in like 12 or 13 minutes. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm also not sorry because I got to share that with you. And it's so important, for all of us, for all of our different races, for all of our different religions, for all of our different cultures, for all of our different backgrounds. We're the same people inside, and we want the same things. And if we speak to and try to see that part of a person, I think a lot of incredible good things can happen from that. So anyway, I will wrap it up because I really meant to go short today. Look at people for who they are. Help people to see you for who you are. I really think it's the biggest gift we can give everyone around us. Okay. Thanks for being here. Whatever holiday you celebrate during this time of the year, I hope it is wonderful for you. And I hope things are going well. If you're feeling really challenged this time of the year because of what has happened in the past to you, please get some help. Call 988. It is the new number that can get someone on the phone to talk to you if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling like you want to hurt yourself or anything else. Okay? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful and safe holidays, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. This has been a production of LabCalf LLC and FemVincible.com.